Yo, we back figuring shit out.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on?
Episode 8. We got a good one today. We got Miss Alicia Ford,
Hello,
Hey
Miss
guys.
Alicia.
Hi,
real
hi. How's it
estate
going?
agent, mogul, CEO, person of interest. How you doing today? Oh,
I
yeah,
like all of those titles. I'm gonna have to
that's
put
what we
that
gonna.
on my next business card.
There you go. That's what we gonna run with. So, you sold. Oh, before we get started into you, I'm Bunny
Okay.
Flacs. I got my
Okay.
websites. You know who I am. BunnyFlocks.com, SilverSyndicate.org, and LoserPerspective.com. We have the media company. We have the precious metals. If you're in the metals, hit up SilverSyndicate.org. And if you're into cybersecurity, you want cybersecurity training or whatnot, hit up BunnyFlocks.com. King Arthur.
Man, I'm King Arthur. Y'all know what I'm about. Unity and Thrive. You see my websites right there. 2020 Faces, Cuddy app, and then MVGrindstone.com. But go ahead, man. Frank, get this thing started.
So we got Miss Alicia Ford, real estate agent, realtor. She sold me and my wife this house that we have. I know a few personal people that she sold houses to, so she's definitely out here getting money. Miss Alicia, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for inviting me today.
How about you have a little background about yourself, what companies you're working with, what you're working on now, and you have anything to say, introduce yourself.
Introduce myself. Well, of course, I'm Alicia Ford. I work with Berkshire Hathaway. I've been with them for about 3 years. My actual background is international shipping and trade.
Ooh,
Right. So
okay. Yeah, I didn't
um
know about that.
You didn't, yeah.
Nope.
Shipping, containerized shipping, pricing, imports, and exports. Being a mom, decided that I didn't want to schedule
Right.
my son around my schedule. I needed to make sure that he came first. So I wanted the flexibility of real estate, which is all a lie.
Right, I can
Uh,
imagine.
right,
Sure,
because
you got horror
you're still
stories.
working.
Right.
Oh, the thing is that now instead of working from 9 to 5, I'm able to work from 8 to 3, pick it back up from 11 to 2 in the morning, and
Right.
so that's what flexibility looks like for a realtor. So,
Especially in this current market, right? Isn't it? Are you crazy busy these days, or
not at this very moment because there's a little bit of a little
ebbs
lull
and
going on.
flows?
Ebbs and flows last around, and we saw this around this time of year last year too, so real estate has its moments.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some days where it's just ruling. It's no joke.
Ruined. So would you say is because of the? I guess we could get into the housing bubble or the current housing crisis market, or whatever you want to characterize it. But
Okay.
would you say it's because of the extravagant prices at the moment?
So right now I feel like we're at a good space. Last year we were chasing houses a
Right.
lot because houses were selling within an hour or two
Right.
of
I
them
remember.
getting on the market.
And there was
So
no
we're
inventory,
not,
right? Yeah.
and there was no inventory. So the good thing, the upside of this market currently is that we're not in that frenzy um, anymore. Well, I wouldn't say that. It depends on your price point, the location, the street, the house, whatever, right? But that's not the overall feel of the market. We actually may have a little time. So you may, instead of having an hour to see, you may now got 8 hours to see it.
Oh, so it got a little better, just a little better.
It got a little better.
Okay.
Last year, I was tired.
I imagine. Um, let's see. King, did you have any questions? Aren't you in the market? Are you looking? I don't want to put your business out there.
No, I am looking. So I got a lot of questions for the first time buyers, but uh, kind of tell us how you got into real estate. What made you
So
want to do real estate?
I want to preference this interview in saying that when I'm talking about the housing market and clients, I'm not talking specifically to anybody. It's a huge generalization, so don't be
Correct.
offended. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So, how I got into real estate, I'm one of those weird people who like going to open houses, like going to new build sites, right? And like I said, I was in international trade and shipping in my prior life. So, when it came down to where do I transition from this into a business of my own, real estate offered all the things that I love about shipping and transport and pricing, right? So it offered the negotiations, it offered
Right.
the pricing. It still allowed me to be very analytical in ways that just being a regular, and there's nothing against stay-at-home moms, but I'm just not that stay-at-home mom. So it still allowed me to be very business-like
And
and
engage with people, right? Okay.
Right. So that's how I got into real estate. So one day I walked into my job and I was just like, I'm out. You know what I mean?
That's your figuring shit out moment. That's like a new thing, like figuring shit out moment. Like, yo, I'm done. I'm not doing this.
Exactly. So I left there. I was making like as a package deal like 72,000, and they were even screaming about that at that point. I'm like, that's not even a lot of money, you know?
No, not at all.
So I can definitely figure this shit out on my own. Let me figure some stuff out. You know, like,
right.
I'm sure I can make it. So I walked in, I gave my 2 weeks notice. I love the company. I just was tired of the job.
So what would you say, so when you had that moment and you started to pursue real estate, how much time was there between your first, I guess you sold your first house?
I quit real estate I quit my job actually June 9th of 2015.
Okay, we got dates.
Of 2015.
Right.
Keep in mind, I had just finished my degree for marketing, and I had purchased this online real estate course a whole year prior, and I got an email like, hey, if you don't use this in 6 months, it's going to expire. So I took...
Or the course?
The course.
Okay.
So I took 2 weeks off, and I started the course in July, like the first, maybe after the 4th of July. And I was done with the course by August the 2nd.
Nice.
And then I did my state board and testing by August. My first sale within 45 days which is not normal, but
right.
I am.
Forgive me. You might have to say that part again, because I think right when you got to what happened, there was a quick cut off the connection. So you said it was August 2nd, and then you took the state board after that. How long?
I took the state board after that, and I was fully licensed by like August the 12th or 15th.
Wow, so like 2 weeks.
And then I closed my first deal within 45 days of that.
Now I'm assuming that's not typical, right?
That's not typical, and that's
okay.
because
that's crazy.
And that is only because I just highly motivated, wanted to learn, needed to figure some shit out, right?
There you go.
Living off my 401k. Mm-hmm. I have a kid still. He's still going to preschool. Mm-hmm. So we got to pay for that stuff. We still had the house to pay for. So, and don't get me wrong. Like, granted, I had some motivation, but the first couple of years of real estate is tough, Like, you have to, I went from making this package deal to almost a quarter of that for the first year in real estate. And then every year after that, I doubled my income.
Oh, and you're still doing it, right? Every year.
I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Life is good.
That's dope. It's good to hear.
Yes.
So you're saying, you said, so last year was difficult. The inventory was very low, but it's better this year. So what advice would you have for a first home buyer in today's market, other than contact Alicia Ford ASAP?
Other than at Alicia
at
the
_. Alicia Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got a website. Yeah, we got to get that.
Yeah, I sell the 757.com. No, seriously. Last year was not difficult. Last year was not difficult if you were a seller. Last year was the make it rain event if you were a seller. If you were a buyer, last year did what it was supposed to do. Right? Mm-hmm. So if you had a little money in your pocket, if you had, so it did what it was supposed to do. It was difficult on buyer's agents because of the pace of things taking place. It was difficult for buyers because of the discouragement that they may get from putting in offer after offer after offer,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you were a home seller or a home owner last year, you were golden,
Facts.
right? So this year, it's a little bit of some change because our change in economics is taking place. It's kind of balancing out some. So I don't want to use the word difficult. The market was just doing what the market was supposed to do.
So when you say change in economics, what are you referring to in the change of economics?
What would you like for me to refer to?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
The word that starts with an I.
So inflation is doing what it's supposed to do. It's taking that. Let's start from the beginning. The rates was low because money was on sale.
Correct. Right. I remember. Yeah, we got a real good. I won't say what it is, but we got a real good. What was ours? Like 20. We was right before all that, right? When they dropped the rates, it was like January 2020. Or December, January 2020. It was just like right
January, you probably locked in like
everything,
May or something, and then the year after that. So this what's taking place in the market did not just start with COVID. That's number one.
Okay.
We have a housing crisis that started back in 2008. So once that 2008 market crash took place, we never fully caught up.
Right.
COVID was an event that gave this is not, I sound like a conspiracy theorist when I say this. COVID was an event that took place that gave the government the opportunity to flood the market with cheap rates. I'm going to keep you home, but I want you still to be able to go out and buy a house.
Right.
So
loans,
I'm going to push these cheap rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you missed out on those cheap rates at the time, it's kind of like, it just kind of happened, So now what inflation is doing what it's supposed to do. It's balancing out the cheap rates again. Rates are not high. Rates are only a quarter higher than what they were pre-COVID.
Right.
It's just that we got used to looking at a sale for 2 years and wondering why the sale is over. The sale is over. It's just, it's not coming back. It's just not coming back. So, but it doesn't mean that there's no chances, no opportunities. It's just, it has to give people time to adjust to the market again. There's an adjustment period. That's really what's taking place now.
Okay. Using your insight in the industry, what is your projection for the next year or 2 years, up to 2 years, for the housing market? Is it going to balance back out to pre-2020 rates and prices, or everything? They say everything is high now. All the highs, the housing market, everything is high, kind of high. Is there going to be a drastic drop of prices? Are people going to lose a lot of equity that they may have built up, or?
So in terms of that, well, those are good questions. We never see equity take off and crash or drop, right? Normally you might see the graph if we were looking at the bar graph, you'll see it kind of, but it's still doing, but it's still going up, right?
Right, over time.
Equity over time. Equity is not going to fall back so much, or the appreciation is not going to depreciate back to a point where your house isn't worth anything. That's just not going to happen, right? Real estate is a long-term investment, and the reason why it's a long-term good investment because it doesn't crash like a stock. It's not going to keep crashing like a Dogecoin or something.
So you say it won't have a free fall, like
no.
Everybody's house is just wooden nails and nobody cares anymore.
Never. There's one thing that God is never going to make again, and that is a piece of land. There's not infinite land out there. As a matter of fact, we are about 5 million houses behind in inventory.
Okay. So how would you characterize the 2008 housing crisis? Like I understand, the banks, the loans, and the, what happened there, but wasn't there a drop in house property at that time, just from all the bogus loans and all that?
So what they're calling the housing crisis of 2008 was really a financial crisis of 2008.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But a house is tangible. I can see the house is tangible. I can't see these bank-to-bank loans, so it's not intangible, right?
Right.
So how I would characterize 2008 versus 2020 and now the difference is in 2008, you basically only needed a pulse to get a loan. You know what I'm saying?
How old was I in 2008? Why didn't I get a house?
You should have got a house then. You know?
I might have been. I'm trying to do quick math.
You should have been at least 20.
Yeah.
That was about 10 years ago.
I was like 21. I think.
Okay.
No, wait.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll do the math. I'll do the quick math later. I think I was old enough to buy a house. So yeah, but I was not a part of that. I was renting, so I didn't feel any of that. Think the stars.
Right. We had an influx of inventory. We had people had these subprime loans like no other.
Everybody. So is it like everybody was applying and anybody could get any amount or
anybody,
like, $500,000?
Anybody.
Damn.
Your credit 580 could get a loan for a $500,000 house if your income. If you had documents to substantiate, it was a wild west. Like they was just giving away everything.
About that one.
Yes. Right.
So you got a fake income, right? You didn't, you could just print something out on your home computer, be like, hey, I make this much. Walk in there.
I got a stick girl that make W-2s so legit. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was probably, you could just say, hey, I make $100,000 in a year, and they was giving out loans, right?
Yeah. Damn.
So, yeah, it was a real bank issue, not a house issue.
So the issue wasn't with like low quality housing and everybody getting right. So that makes sense. It was definitely financial.
It was a financial
some
issue.
Conspiracy with the banks doing this, I'm sure. There's the movie, The Big Short. That's a good movie. Watch that movie. But yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so there's a huge difference, right? Basic economics was the supply was high, demand was low. We can't replicate the variables in 2008 to the variables like right now. Our supply is stupid low. We don't have enough.
Right, and they're not giving out loans like that.
And we can't. And half of those loans during that era don't even exist anymore.
Right.
So you got to show up to a loan officer with at least a 640, some cash in the bank, basically some blood, good some income, urine,
firstborn,
so your firstborn, and all that stuff.
That makes sense.
So it's just a huge difference. So when people try to characterize, this is just like 2008, it's kind of lazy.
That makes sense because this 2008 was, a financial crisis, and 2020 is a totally different scenario.
Totally different.
The houses weren't going up back then, right? They weren't. Did they drop in value because of all the defaults?
I wouldn't say drop in value because if you had a house, you still had a house, right? Like they didn't drop in value.
Well, what about the repossessions and the defaulting on the loan or whatever? The short sales.
But that didn't drop in value.
Okay.
That just allowed the bank to buy them back and then resell them, and then somebody can go in there and fix it, and the house will still regain its value. So distressed properties was really at an all-time high at that time, but there's hardly any distressed properties on the market now. Like people are always like, just send me a list of the foreclosures and the short sales. It's probably like 2 in there. You know what I'm saying?
They ain't out there right now. This ain't the time.
Out there. It's not the time. So it's just a total different market, and you can't characterize or correlate the two. But people are, if you look at the bell curve from 28 versus the bell curve from now, I saw a YouTube video about blah blah blah, and he said, and it's like, nah, son,
That's what's up.
But then, like, what's kind of weird to me, can I cuss? It's kind
Of
of weird
course.
as fuck, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so this,
the title is figuring shit out. You know what I'm saying? We cut.
okay,
You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead.
okay. So to me, it's weird as fuck when people are like, yeah, I'm waiting for the crash.
That's what I've been
Why?
hearing a lot about that.
A
I'm
lot.
yeah. I'm not. I'll personally. I'm not waiting for a crash. I don't think that'll be good for my blood pressure. But depending on your
Right?
outlets, you know
For a
what I'm
first
saying.
time home buyer, I think that sounds kind of good. No.
Absolutely not.
No. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
To wait for an entire country's demise, right? Because when there's a crash, right now, employment is like 3.5%, 4%, right?
Right.
When the market crashes, unemployment is 10%.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to be eating crab legs and going to Mexico
Right.
like we are now, right? You can, like, you
Right.
know what I'm
Flying
saying?
somewhere for
Flying.
$50. Yeah.
You are not going to be in the same financial situation that you're in if the market crashes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Nobody.
half the time, a market crash doesn't affect us. It affects brown people a lot worse than it affects, some other people. So why would you want a market to crash just so you can?
So I don't think
And to be,
it's that people want the market to crash. I think just judging off of the past 2 years, what they've seen the market do with the housing increase, the price increase,
okay,
and you couple that in with inflation, so the dollar is less powerful. I guess there's these I won't call them financial experts because I don't listen to anybody that's actually saying that for real, but people do talk. So
okay,
they're saying there's a bubble. This past 2 years with the drop of the rates with inflation, there's a bubble and it's about to burst. So I don't think that's saying they want to crash. I think there's fear that there's a crash. We have for what we've been here 2 years. We got like almost, I won't say how much. We got a lot of equity in this house.
equity rich,
Right.
right?
And then for us, it's like, okay, if a crash happens, I'm fine as long as it just doesn't go down below what we owe. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, nobody wants that, but there's just talk like, oh, look, watch
Well,
out.
and I hear it from a different perspective from other people. Like, I'm just waiting for the market to crash to buy a house. Well, you
Right.
couldn't even participate in the sale that
Couple years
happened
ago.
two years ago.
Right.
You're
Like
not gonna be
now
able
you
to
waiting,
participate in this crash. You know what I'm saying?
and then it crashed. Like nobody wants to buy because then everybody's scared. Because like if you buy, then it can keep going down.
Scared,
Yeah.
right? So I couldn't even get you to put your 3.5% down, pay your closing costs, and potentially a gap, and you want to participate in 50% on a hard money loan if it crashes to get that investment house. Like, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
It's totally, like, what's it like? You couldn't even get in the club. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of
Energy. Yeah.
correlation you're not going to be able to participate in if the houses drop stupid low anyway, because there are professional investors waiting with money.
So that's probably bigger things to worry about than housing.
You got other, exactly.
That makes me
Get
feel
your
better.
house
I feel better.
at 5.25,
better.
and you'll be fine.
Nice.
Yes. So there's no real. I think it's going to be a correction. So in the last 2 years, just like you, Frank, your house has appreciated. Overall appreciation for the last two years, people's houses appreciated in double digits.
Correct.
21% on U.S. average. That's life changing. You can pull that money out,
I was just
buy an
about to get to
investment
that,
property. Your house values went up. So if you are a homeowner now,
Mm-hmm.
you did great because your house values went up. If you are looking to be a homeowner, King Arthur, there's no issues. Buy now. There's programs and different loan options. There's different loan options. So
Like, can you talk about a few?
I can. So I want people to get out of the ideal of 30-year fixed, right?
Right.
And I said this, I did a video a while back because I am like I'm not a millennial. I'm getting kind of old. So
wait, you gotta define millennial because I I found out recently that I'm a millennial.
You are one. I am not.
Oh, okay. You older than me, right? You don't have to answer.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
Is there
Yes,
age limit to this thing?
There's the year range, like 1980 to 86 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I was born in 79.
Oh,
So,
not too far.
and millennials are, the way that they think is a little different than everybody. So it's said that millennials will have 30 jobs in their lifetime, as opposed to like an older generation who would
half of that by now.
Stay at a job for 30 years, right? There's that longevity there.
Yeah.
The way that I want you, when you go buy your first house, Mr. Arthur King, is to look at your first house as an investment. You are buying your investment piece, right? I want you to go in and say, I know I'm not going to live in this house for no longer than 5 to 7 years.
Yep.
Do I have any other options outside of a 30-year fixed loan? Okay. And normally when I say adjustable, people's skin start to itch because they're thinking of 2008 when they were doing interest-only loans, and they think that they're only going to have to pay, or they're only paying the interest, and then they'll get a balloon payment. Right. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I am saying is I want you to talk to your loan officer, ask for a 5-1 ARM, a 7-1 ARM, which may give you a discount on your interest rate, but then I want you to keep your credit so pristine for 5 years as when it's time to refinance, because normally we should see a change in interest rates again very, very soon, right? So get out the mindset of, I'm gonna go get this 30-year loan, but you're not staying in the house for 30 years.
No, not at all.
It makes no sense. Right?
I don't know who's. I mean, like you said, the old school that was like, get a job, stay in that job 40 years, get the pension, retire, buy the house, stay in the house for 30 years, pay it off, stay there forever.
Right.
That's not that's not the case right now. Yeah, at all.
It's not the case. It's not the case. I don't want you to go into your first house thinking that it has to have every bell and whistle that I've ever wanted. If you can go in there, fix it up with some sweat equity, sell it for a profit of 30 to 40, 50 grand in 7 years, that's real money in your bank.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you can put that to the next property, right?
And you can put it to the next property, and then keep doing that, and then maybe buy a investment property to fund your kids in college. You know what I'm saying? So think outside of just, I need a 30-year fix, because the rates that people are screaming about on TV are, number one, fake, and number two, they're 30-year fixed loans. And we don't even live in that type of lifestyle anymore. So
ain't no telling what 5 years from now gonna look like.
Ain't no telling. All I'm asking you to do is pay your bills on time for 5 years.
So what's the difference? So there's a 30-year, and then there's this thing where people talk about 15-year. What is the major?
15-year to me are for,
like, if you have funds to pay it off in that time, like, are the payments double?
If you can do it and pay it off, then do it. But it's really just throwing a lot of money towards the house for no reason to me.
So the payments are high. Okay, yeah, much higher.
So the payments are much higher. I only see those with people who just have a lot of disposable money who may want to pay it off quickly. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of don't even mess with.
So, and there's obviously a 15-year versus a 30. That's less on interest overall, right? So, like, they'll get that so they could spend less on interest, pay it off faster. And if you got, like you said, you got the cash to spend, just get the 15-year if you qualify, obviously.
If you qualify, if you have the disposable cash and income, then get a 15-year. But also talk to your loan officer about a 5-1 ARM option, a 7-1 ARM option. Also, don't be really afraid of these interest rates, because let me tell you the great thing about the interest rates being kind of high. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the year, you get to claim the interest on your house, right? You go file your taxes, you get to claim the interest. The higher the interest, the more money you get to claim. right? So you get to mark off more interest on your balance sheet. So let's say if my interest rate is like a 5.7, but by the time I put it on my balance sheet for my taxes and I get my tax credits for interest paid, if I look at it apples to apples, and I want people to stop filing taxes with Jackson Hewitt. I want them to sit down at H&R Block. I want you to sit down with a real tax strategist so that you can see it. What you think you're paying higher in interest, you may be saving on your tax balance sheet because you're kind of paying more interest, and they can deduct that from your taxes. So what you might think is 5.5 might actually be paying 3.75 if you look at the big picture in savings on your taxes.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people don't. They just go to, like you said, they go to H&R Block. These really quick W-2 tax people. They do it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Done. You're out the door. You get your little refund, but it's like it's not what it could be.
It's not what it could be. And number one, I don't want the government holding my money for a whole year on an interest-free loan. Give me my money back. I want to have all access to my money.
Even TurboTax, like TurboTax will fuck you, right? If you try to do it yourself. Like I did it from years ago. I can't even remember, over 10 years ago. I think I did TurboTax like 2 years in a row. And I never understood why I ended up paying. I'm like, bro, I'm not making extravagant money. Like last year I got a refund. This year I'm doing TurboTax. It says I got to pay $600. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, and I was not a tax professional at all. So, you go through the prompts, answer questions. You think you know what you're doing. No, it's not the case.
And you don't. Really just have a moment, sit down with the tax specialist. Buying a house, taxes, this is just responsibility of adults. For your instance, it's just adulting. So really just kind of sit down, look at the bigger picture, because what you're picking pennies and dimes at, you could actually be saving in a different place, right? So there's a whole bigger picture to your financial picture than, my interest rate is a 5.5% interest rate.
Oh my God, why didn't I?
Oh my God.
Wait.
Right. It's so much. But for a home buyer now, just go out there and be ready. I always tell my buyers.
What is ready?
What is ready?
What is ready? Yeah.
Okay.
Jump.
Yes. So pre-qualification for my buyers is not just a piece of paper from a lender saying you're pre-qualified in this market, right? In this market, I need you to have a little cash in the bank. So I want you to know that you can cover your down payment, because there's not a lot of down payment assistance programs any longer. They've seen us on Instagram. They know that we went to Tulum and we were eating the crab legs. So there's none of that.
Right. Stimulus checks, all those stimulus checks gone.
They not giving us that anymore. Right. So I want you to have your down payment. I want you to have money to cover your closing costs, even if we don't use it. I am going to negotiate the best offer for you, right? But I need to know that what is my hand. I need to look at my full hand to be able to play it properly, right? So you want to have your down payment, you want to have your closing costs, and depending on your price point and what you're shopping for, I may ask you to have a little bit of money for gap. And gap is, let's say if you have to make an offer and the offer is over asking, but we both know that it's not going to appraise over asking. So you may want to cover that gap from sales price to appraisal price. So for instance, and I know it sounds crazy. So let's say we go look at a house and the house is $200,000, right? But we see that there's a ton of people putting in offers, and we want to offer 205. But I know it's not going to appraise for 205. I need for you to have that $5,000 in your bank so that we can pay the additional $5,000 on the sales price.
Right.
Out of pocket. So that to me is a fully approved client, one that has their down payment, their closing costs, and depending on what we're looking for, may have extra money in the bank for any type of appraisal gap.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also I forget what it's called. Well, there's what is it called? The inspections. There's all type of little fees, you know, like 400 here, 300 there, 500 there.
Right. So so let's say once we win the contract, we'll have our inspections, and you'll have to put your EMD or your earnest money deposit.
That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Okay. Your earnest money down on the house. Your earnest money is basically your skin in the game, is saying that I want this house so bad, I'm willing to put a little cash on the contract. Back in the day, we used to get away with $500, depending. Now, you know, based on the demand for homes, people are putting anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 on the house. The good thing about this, though, is not like it's money lost, right? As long as we stay in the terms of the contract, we meet our inspection dates, as long as we're within the terms of the document, that money goes back to your bottom line. So at the end, let's say if you're financing the house, the loan officer is going to say, hey, just send me a copy of the EMD check. And then he's going to deduct that $5,000 from your cost of doing business on the loan. Nice.
Cool. Okay. So let's real quick, let's jump to the music break, and then we're gonna jump back. I have an equity question right when we get back. Music break is my boy Mel with the song Higher. I think he released this video 2-3 months ago, so it's brand new. It's his latest release. Mel is one of my boys from back in the day. We did music together like 2010, 2011, 2012. Like, he was one of the artists that I managed. Super dope. So we're going to jump into the music break, and we come back with Miss Alicia 4.
All right.
Staying low, out of sight, out of mind. You gon' have to hit my line. I've been out the way, can't leave a trace. I just need my space, dinner just for one T-bone to stay. I've been out too much. Back from out of town, I blowed it down with 2 cups. I ain't never front on who I am, they just respect me as such. See me face to face, I bet they know that we us. I told you some secrets, but somehow they got around. Tap me in my back, I pick my face up off the ground. Got you being louder, still I never made a sound. I just try to worry about myself, can't help the crowd. Fuck it, if I see you, man, we might just shoot it. Yeah, I've been overworking, I'm just showing, proving. Yeah, I don't want no smoke, but man, you know I do it. Yeah, been a couple years since I've been close to losing. Yeah, you never get it twice when you start picking, choosing. Yeah, I'm deep in my thoughts, if I can't talk, I bring the writer in. Sometimes I can't get it out, I have to go to Shxt to pen. Everything don't move, I gotta get it up and try again. Man, just bring my lighter, let's get higher then. Roll another leaf, let's get higher then. Put your money on me, let's get higher then. Gotta let your mind free, let's get higher then. Gotta hit it before I leave, let's get higher then. Flicking up, they clicking up. Gotta show your stripes before you come, or you can't sit with us. We just might be cool, but deep inside I know I'll never trust. SB the game, we hold it down, but they won't let us up, we never bluff. Ain't out of touch, what they offer ain't enough. Yeah, you might be on them plans, but to them hoes I never cuff. I just like to switch the vibe, I slow it down and speed it up. Only like her when she high, when she come down, she mean as fuck, I'm on a roll again. I'ma do whatever for my dog, I can't say no to friends. Trying not to write about my life, but I can't hold it in. Every line I mean, you know the rules, I'm never gon' pretend. I get on my knees and say a prayer right before I sin. Once you cross the line, it's never gonna end. Like T cooking wavy, let the corners bend. Say you'll double back, we're never gonna spin. Say you from a cell, we knew you never been. I'm deep in my thoughts, if I can't talk, I bring the writer in. Sometimes I can't get it out, I have to go to Shxt to pen. Everything don't move, I gotta get it up and try again. Man, just bring my lighter, let's get higher then. Roll another leaf, let's get higher then. Put your money on me, let's get higher then. Gotta let your mind free, let's get higher then. Gotta hit it before I leave, let's get higher then. On me, let's get higher then. Rolling on me, let's get higher then. Yeah.
Yo, that was
I like that.
Mel. That's dope, right?
You said that was
It was
old?
really good.
No, that's it's like 2 months old, 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly when.
Might have to follow him on Instagram, see what else he got.
Yeah. Oh no, he's dope. He's fire. Oh, this came out in January. That's kind of
Okay.
that's,
It's
that's
still
that's this year. This year.
pretty new.
That's my
Yeah.
boy Mel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Super dope. We gonna put his links in there. He got mad tracks too. So
Where am I looking at? Like straight ahead or at myself?
Either or, it don't matter.
I got
Okay.
4 screens, so I'm looking everywhere, and then I got my camera's here, so like I'm all over the place. I think if you look at the camera, it looks like you're talking to us and to the audience. So I guess that's probably best.
Okay.
I don't look at the camera though. I look at the screens, but
Look at all the buttons, all the boxes.
cool.
All the boxes. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking at. All the boxes.
Word.
Is that a QR code that's behind you?
That is a QR code.
Nice. Does it work? Can I
Is
scan
it?
it right now?
I don't
Not
know
what
if
you
you got the
know.
whole thing.
Right.
Especially with that me in the way, right? I don't know. You didn't get the whole thing though.
Word.
Oh, I already set up. Yeah.
Don't work.
So back to the topic at hand. I have a question about equity, right? I think you touched on that. Let's say you have equity in
Mm-hmm.
your house.
Okay.
What is the process? I guess summarize to pull it out, right? Because me and we were talking about it a few days ago, and we're like, we don't understand how it works. I know it's a loan type of deal where you got to pay back, and then probably add an amount to your mortgage. But if you wanted to pull something out for whatever purpose, business, house upgrades, or just whatever, how do you do that? What's the process to do that?
So I'm not a loan officer.
Mm-hmm.
But I pay. I play one on TV most
Boom.
nights.
Correct.
But you would contact your loan officer and do a cash out refi.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like
And
it's a
then
refinance.
It's kind of like a refinance, but instead of refinancing the full amount, you're pulling money out of the house. But I don't want you to get in the habit of pulling money out just because of using your house as a bank. Because keep in mind, just like you, or like I'm telling Arthur, that this investment, and I know how much equity that you have in your house.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be able to take that, and if you and Sharice decide to move to Miami, finance her restaurant or something.
We've been eyeing Miami. We going back next month. We eyeing Miami hard.
I know, but I want you to use that as a nest egg. So I want you to be smart about cashing out on your house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing that I try to implore to people, because sometimes we get really excited that, we sit in these equity rich houses and we start using this joker like an ATM machine, swiping.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, you ain't got nothing.
So
Right.
is it better to pay off your house before even dipping into the equity of the house, or?
It depends on your situation, and that's why I want you to not only have a tax guy, I want you to have somebody that you can talk to about your finances, right? I don't believe that there's a right or wrong answer to this. If you need to put a kitchen in your house and you have enough money in terms of equity to use to renovate your kitchen, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you plan to move out in 5 years after that?
Right. It's gotta make sense. It's gotta make sense.
It has to make sense, So I just warn people against using their houses as banks, and that's kind of what happened in 2008 too. People were using their houses like banks. We was giving away money like water.
Mm.
Just go.
Right. So we were like, we had a conversation. We were trying to gauge if we took it out, what we would use it for. We have all type of ideas in the backyard, and we want to get a pool, concrete, all this stuff. And that's like taking it out and putting it back in the house, right? But then now you increase your house payment, and I don't know if you necessarily increase the value of your house right away, but you do, it is an investment back into the house, right? And
it is.
And then there's starting a business. Oh, let's take this out and start a business. Okay. that could work, as long as the business is fruitful, right? And the business does good, and you can pay back that, and then you don't lose your house over trying to start a business. So there's the different avenues, and then there's take it out for vacation and bullshit or whatever. Like you said, use it as a bank. Yeah, no, that's so try to do something with it that you can basically make your money work for you.
Exactly. So adding value to the house, kitchen and bathrooms are good. I don't consider adding a pool value. That I hate to say it. It's just more so, it's if that person who buys it wants it,
So would it be a good idea for somebody to get reappraised after they made an upgrade to the house?
Yeah.
Immediately
absolutely.
after, or
not immediately, but you can do it at your leisure. So kitchens are normally going to increase. Let's say if you put $20,000 in a kitchen, if it's a good renovation, it'll have some added value. But added value is not just based on what you did to the house. It's based on what houses in the neighborhood are selling for too. So you could go in there and trick your whole house out. But if there's no other house that has comparable value, you have wasted your money.
Wow.
So let's say
you have like a dope house, and then every other house on the block is just
mediocre
trash,
bullshit,
and that doesn't increase even for. Okay, I guess that makes sense because nobody wants to necessarily live next to a house like that. But
if we lived in an area that's where it made sense to where like you could have $1 million house next to a trap house.
Who's gonna buy that $1 million? I'm like, yo, let me get that for half or something.
Yeah, but they ain't making land, so it's gonna look good. Yeah. So so I'm not saying that the value won't be accounted towards it. What I'm saying is that you won't get the full value.
Okay, so let's say that's not the issue. Let's say you're in a nice neighborhood, all the houses are nice. So, for instance, our situation, if we add a pool, will that the amount that we paid on the pool increase the value by that much? Is it a 1-to-1, or it could be a small percentage, half?
It's gonna. So pools, the solar things that people are putting on their house, the panels, all that stuff, that is based on the buyer. Just because you put a pool in the ground does not instantly add value, because every buyer does not want a pool.
But what if you're targeting people that want a pool? What if you're targeting?
I think you want a pool, right?
I'm not saying we're going to do this. I'm saying we do want a pool, but I'm trying to fish.
What you want to do? I want you to get a pool because I'm coming over.
Pool parties.
But as long as the cookies don't come back.
Yeah, no, that wasn't us. I promise that wasn't our fault. I was just as shocked as you.
Hot all day. Now edit that out. But what will probably bring you more value? So let's say if somebody in your neighborhood has a pool with the backyard kitchen and all this other stuff, right?
Bar in the back,
yeah. Bar in the back, TV in the back, all that. Or let's say even you being the first person, the appraisal is going to come in, take a look at it, see what properties within a certain radius sold for, and give you some money towards that, right? The difficult thing with that is that appraisals are subjective. So the appraisal can come in and don't give a shit about your pool.
That's not okay.
But he loves your kitchen, right? You know what I'm saying? So you might get a better 1-to-1 ratio on other things besides the pool, because pools are not like
a necessity.
Right. A necessity.
So what you're saying, if I understand you clearly, what you're saying is if we put $30,000 in a pool, that don't mean the value is gonna increase $30,000.
It does.
Because in a pool, it takes way more maintenance than the kitchen and the bathroom.
Exactly.
So it could be like a few thousand, 5,000.
You can put. Have you seen those canister pools? Those they look like little tin pools.
Large bathtubs.
Yeah. Have you ever seen one of those?
I mean, we could
probably. I'm
just
gonna y'all so.
Yeah.
You said you better get something above ground, buddy.
Yeah, we want to do like a half above. What's it called? Half above, half like both. I don't know. That's her thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm not saying don't do it. It's just not a 1-to-1 value.
Oh, okay.
I'm not like you're not gonna.
It'll be more
grand.
right. It'll be more for our leisure here.
Yeah.
And perhaps any future buyer, but it's not a necessity.
It's not a 1-to-1.
And I would say Virginia, wherever you stay at, right, is closer to water, but like it's not like a super hot all year round type place like Florida, right?
Yeah.
Like a pool in Miami would probably be more value, right, to a home.
Yeah.
People love pools, but somebody will come to your house, absolutely love your house, see that pool and be like, oh hell no. I'm not cleaning it. I don't want to put a liner in it. I don't want nothing to do with that.
And then there's the liability, you know, with kids and all that.
Exactly.
You know,
so if you want a pool, do it for your enjoyment. You may get some money for it, but don't bank on a dollar to dollar. Like that's just not gonna happen.
All our dreams just shattered.
Get a pool because I want to come. Get a pool.
Right. All right.
For sure, your son will like it.
Yeah. That'll be hopefully a future product. But again, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna stay here. Like if we got the pool, we'd probably have to like at least spend 10 years, you know, here or something. Like we got to put and move next year or 2 years and be like, what the fuck? You know?
Exactly.
That'll be a loss.
Make sense.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. So pools are good. They're just not for everybody.
All right, so I got a question for you. So for first time home buyers, right? So
okay,
is it? I live in Northern Virginia, Fredericksburg, right? Closer further north I go, houses are getting prices is getting ridiculous, right? But the further south I go, they're cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, right? I'm not saying I don't want to go to Richmond. I'm saying I don't want to be in Hampton Roads area, right? But so for a first time home buyer, where would you suggest? Do you suggest they find a home where they are, or try a different area if they can get better rates?
Not better rate is
better price,
right? So do you get more bang for your buck in a certain place?
Mm-hmm.
Would your kids benefit from great schools in that place? You know, how long do I plan to stay in that place? Like these are really questions that you have to talk to your spouse about to see where your life is taking you for the next 5 to 7 years. Because I really kind of want you guys to stay there for 5 to 7 years so that you can really benefit from the return on your investment for that long. So let's say if you're qualified for $600,000, right? And if I go further north to Fredericksburg area, I'm getting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that's 1,600 square feet. The schools are good, but but if I come further south, I get a 6-bedroom, 3-bath for $450. I can deal with the schools for 5 to 7 years, and then we're out. Those are kind of personal choices. Let me tell you, I noticed that when I sell houses or when I'm with my buyers, we tend to act like marriage counselors and therapists.
There you go.
We're kind of talking y'all through the process because this is really a group effort with you and your spouse. What are our immediate needs?
It's a big purchase.
It's a big purchase. So I want y'all to talk about it. And you see so much strife going on during these times. Like I hate her and I hate him and boom, boom, boom. No, you don't. You're making a decision. And when you're making these decisions that affect your family for X amount of years, it becomes tough. Really sit down. Hey, babe, this is what I'm thinking about. This is what we need to do. Does House A in Fredericksburg fit our lifestyle? Does House B in Chesterfield County, does better? But really enter in this process as a team, go through the process as a team. You have to talk through the process.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And you gotta get along too. I mean, you shouldn't be buying a house with somebody you can't even talk with.
Right.
I hate your guts. All right, we're gonna buy this over here. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, fussing at every showing and shit. This is uncomfortable.
I'm sure you've been in those situations.
Been in looking at them. It's like watching
But like,
a person
why
like
I here, bro? Like, get out of my face. I know you're not gonna buy from me. You gonna give me this.
it's like watching people have a baby to save a marriage. It gets tough. You're like,
Are you sure you want to do this?
I know, right? Y'all sure? Y'all want to go to counseling first, you know? But I do tell them, I'd rather y'all fuss with me about something that's going on with me as opposed to fussing with each other about a group decision. Fuss at me about something. Don't fuss with each other, because at this point, I need y'all to really be on the same page.
Exactly.
Okay. That's a good tip.
Cool. So yeah, you definitely. I remember when we were working with you, we weren't too picky. You know what I'm saying? We were in DC and we came down. We found this in one day, wasn't it?
In one day.
Yeah. And we were like,
wow. In one day.
This is dope. Yeah. We didn't look at too much. I'm not sure if it. I mean, everything we saw was dope, right? So let's start there. You took us to great houses. We were just like, oh wow, we can do this, and so that was dope. That was a plus. But we saw this; it wasn't even built. I think there was a model home next to this. All brand new area, brand new neighborhood, nothing built out, and we built. So that was definitely a good experience.
I'm glad.
And thank you. Yeah.
With y'all, it was a matter of getting your location right? And I think that sometimes you get so fixated on a location and you're at a price.
We wanted to go to Virginia Beach. We were like, beach. We want the beach, Virginia Beach, the beach.
So what I try to do is I try to show people everything that they want or think they want, and then I'll show them what I think they need. You know. Because what you want may not be available in this city, but I can get what you want in a different city at a better price point. You just got to figure out if you can live where I'm going to put you at. Right. And in this instance, it kind of made sense.
It did. And we're happy here. We definitely we got to get your contact information. Anybody looking for a crib, holla at Alicia Ford. She's definitely dope.
Are you only down in that area, or do you?
I'm only down in Hampton Roads. I go as far as Pocosin. I do have partners that are in the Fredericksburg area and in the Richmond area, if you're looking, so they can be an extension of me. They're kind of as dope as I am.
Nice.
Kinda. But yeah. Why not Hampton Roads? What's your gripe against Hampton Roads?
Oh his gosh.
He when did you last live down here? Didn't you just leave this area?
2018, I think it was. Yeah, okay. Mid 2018 came up to Manassas, and then we came to Fredericksburg. It's my family's down there. Majority of my wife's family's up here, but it's just the higher quality you live in.
No, I agree.
Well, not necessarily Fredericksburg, but Fredericksburg and further north, right? It's just a little more decenter.
Makes sense.
Right? But it's not less crowded, because it's super crowded here too. It's just, I think it's because of the job atmosphere up here, right? A lot of the corporate jobs up here, a lot of headquarters are up here, right? And
we're kind of in the blue collar.
Yeah, and down there is way more service based. You know, a lot of bus drivers, a lot of garbage trucks, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know.
How far is Fredericksburg to DC? Is it like 2 hours? No.
Nah, not even about an hour's change. About an hour.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, That
and about an hour 15 from Richmond too. So yeah, I call it the in between.
But the house prices are a little bit more pricier too, though.
Right.
For your higher quality of life.
So.
He said, "I ain't coming back to Hampton Roads.
I ain't coming back to the ratchetness."
I ain't fucking with all
I
y'all.
might if I can find me a house for 150, I might, but.
Yeah, we wanted to come back because, you know, when we went up there, it was just for a career, and we was up there for 2 years, got my career on track, and then we just came back. I think it was always kind of the plan, but I wouldn't mind staying up there. But you know, we're back, so we're comfortable here. So
I never live inside the city, DC though. That's
we moved to Arlington, literally 5 minutes from DC.
But it's not the same though.
Like Arlington is right there, but yeah,
it's like a normal city. Arlington's like a normal city. Like inside there is like a whole zoo, and just stuff just never stops.
It is. It was. Yeah. It was an experience. 2 years. I'm good.
What's your lifestyle like though? Like what is your
babies?
Babies.
He got a newborn like 2 weeks old.
I see them like climbing on on
Yeah,
him.
they were babies, and then I work from home, so my wife works from home too. So I mean, we in the house all day, every day. So I
Oh,
need space for them to run around in. So that's where we at.
so then you might want to come a little bit further south, so you can get more bang for your buck. I'm not saying you have to come to.
Focus on.
Yeah, I know there's Culpeper around here, and then I don't think I want to do Richmond.
But there's like little places around.
There's a few, yeah. There's a few.
Like in Hanover and Chesterfield.
And like I said, I don't have to commute to work, so that's probably the biggest.
There's freedom there. Like you're not tied to a job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just the overall messages is that you have to find a house that suits your lifestyle, and if working from home is your lifestyle, and so you don't want to be crowded in a house. That house gets real small when y'all by Thursday, right? Because y'all sick of looking at each other, So you really kind of want to find a house that suits your life and lifestyle. With COVID, the good thing about it is that it gave us a chance to kind of look at how we were living in our space and saying whether or not this was a good fit or we needed to make a change. So working from home, I would say if I can get more bang for my buck, I'm not saying come to Hampton Roads, but if it's 5 of y'all, I'm looking at 2,200 square feet or better. If I can't get 2,200 square feet or better for a good price point, am I really staying there?
That's a good question.
That's
a good question.
Because these houses, you grow out of them so fast, and then the wear and tear of being crowded in a house is crazy on that house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think of a house as a living, breathing thing. If I got 5 people living here, that's in the house 5 days a week. Yeah,
she's like, get out of there.
That house is tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to kind of say, okay, well, can I move a little bit below the Fredericksburg line to really get a good quality? I'm just preaching quality. I'm just preaching quality of life, and I'm trying to keep you married. You know what I'm saying?
I can dig that. Black love money. There you go.
Black love. Because when that house is small, y'all hate everybody.
It's true. It's like, yeah. No, I remember. We good now. We got space. Like I got peace and quiet. You know what I'm saying? Jamani's downstairs. I don't know where. Reese probably in another room. Like the dog is the only one. If I left the door correct, the dog would be in here getting on my nerves because he don't care about nobody's personal space. But yeah.
And I'm looking at downsizing because I have too much house currently now. But every time I look at something, it's too small. Like, what am I gonna do with this? I can't.
True.
It's so
AIRBNB. So this is dope. I think we should do more shows after this. Because I don't know. Do you know about Airbnb? As far as
let me tell you, no, because they changed the rules so much here. If you are not grandfathered into an Airbnb in this area, I can't even keep up. They changed the rules like they changed underwear. Because
when we're talking about Miami, right?
Right.
We have a choice to sell this or rent it out or try to turn it to an investment property. She mentioned Airbnb. I guess we could do the research to see if that'll work. But what rules did they change, or would an Airbnb in Chesapeake of all places does it even make sense? Like, it's not like we're at the beach, across from the water or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't done the research, but that's why I'm asking to see if you knew.
So would an Airbnb or would a short-term rental yield you more than a long-term rental? And I say that because we are in a rental shortage, and we live in a military market, right? So there's always people moving in and out.
Correct.
Would you get more money and probably more headache? Like, would I get more money and less headache from an officer family living in my house who's going to pay me $2,800 a month?
Guaranteed.
That sounds good.
Guaranteed. That's long-term rental money, right?
Right.
Versus a goddamn party house
for the
That you gotta-
weekend.
Friday.
for the weekend, and
All
it's
right.
getting on the neighbor's nerves.
All right, so since you put it that way, thank you so much. You just cleared that up for us.
You know,
You
Nah,
definitely
you know,
cleared that up. You definitely cleared that up for us. I wasn't thinking in those terms, but I was thinking about money. Like, okay, $2,800 a month versus $2,800 every weekend, but then you gotta factor in craziness and people.
craziness.
And if
people
we're down
tearing up
there,
your stuff.
coming back up, checking shit. Yeah, you're right. So, facts.
She
And
going
then-
missing.
Right.
Right, and then you got to check your HOA rules and laws too, right? So it's not even just the city rules, and
Mhm.
you got to check your HOA to see if they even allow anything shorter than 60
Oh.
days or
You know,
6 months for.
I'm on the board here, so I got influence. Stop. No, I'm just a person. We do a meeting once every couple months. We don't talk about shit, but we straight. So this was good.
Stay on the board. Stay on the
Oh
board.
yeah. I keep them in check. But anyway, this is a good show. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. What do you have any? What's your contact if people want to get in touch with you? What's your Instagram, socials, emails, website, all that stuff? Let's drop.
So you can get in touch with me on Instagram at _Alicia Ford, ALICIA Ford, like the car. You can check my website out at www.isellthe757.com. That should be a great way to start.
I sell the 757.com. That's dope.
That was on the
Dope.
website a minute ago. Yeah.
I like that. So I think we're gonna have you back for sure. We definitely real estate industry and all this type of stuff is definitely where something we could do like 10 episodes on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Especially
coming
when I get
through.
closer to buying my house. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
we gonna have to talk about you in this house thing because I feel some anxiety about this process with you, and I feel like I need to
Already.
walk you through the process. I want to walk you through the steps so that you can be at ease.
I am all ears and trying to figure shit out.
Figure this shit out, son.
That's perfect. All right, so we're gonna go to the outro. Stay on the line so we'll chop it up right after this.
Okay.
There you go.